The ship drifted through the silence like a speck of dust caught in the dying breath of a sun. The Artemis III had traveled 3 parsecs beyond charted space, lured by a transmission that repeated every 22 hours, a pulse of soundless light carrying no code, no language, just the pattern of a heartbeat. Commander Elias Mercer stood before the viewport, eyes fixed on the star that wasn't a star anymore. Its surface was black and pitted, its corona whispering faint blue ghosts across the void. Behind him, the hum of the Artemis engines was the only sound that reminded him he was still alive. "Entering orbit around the anomaly," said Dr. Mara Chen, the ship's linguist, her voice calm but thin. "Signal source triangulated to the surface. Coordinates uploaded." Mercer nodded. "Prep the descent module. I want a team on the ground within the hour." He didn't add what they were all thinking, that no known civilization had ever been here. The planet below, Exile 9, wasn't on any Federation registry. Its atmosphere was breathable, its gravity steady. Yet scans showed no vegetation, no cities, not even ruins. Only a single heat signature, deep underground. As the descent pod broke through the thin haze of the planet's sky, the world revealed itself in shades of bone and ash. The surface stretched for miles, dunes of powdered stone, skeletal ridges that looked like the ribs of mountains long dead. The air shimmered faintly with static, like it remembered being alive once. The team, Mercer, Mara Chen, Lieutenant Jonah Reyes, engineer, and Dr. Lila Grant, xenoarchaeologist, stepped out, their boots sinking into dust that had never known a footprint. "There's something beneath us," Lila said, staring at her scanner. "A structure. Massive. It's metal, but the composition's off the charts." Mercer unslung his plasma rifle and nodded toward a depression in the terrain. "Then that's where we start." They descended into the basin, and there, half buried under centuries of wind and silence, was a doorway. Not carved, not built, but grown from the surrounding stone like the earth itself had folded inward. Its surface rippled faintly, dark metal alive with faint currents of light. Reyes brushed dust from a nearby panel, tracing his glove along a line of symbols. No language match in the archives. But they look familiar. Mara leaned in. "They're not letters. They're coordinates. Star maps." "Of what?" Mercer asked. She looked at him, her eyes uneasy. "Ours." The door opened with a whisper that shouldn't have been possible in the still air, a mechanical sigh like an exhale from the planet's hollow chest. They stepped inside. The interior was vast, a corridor descending into the ground, walls lined with translucent slabs that glowed faintly from within. Each slab was etched with symbols that pulsed like neurons firing. The air felt charged, humming softly with an unseen current. Reyes pointed toward the nearest slab. "They look like storage units." Lila ran a gloved hand across one. "No. They're not storage. They're records." They descended deeper until the passage opened into a chamber so large it could have housed a city. Floating platforms connected by narrow bridges crisscrossed the space. And on every surface, floor to ceiling, were the tablets. 10,000 of them, maybe more. Each one unreadable, each one alive. Mara's voice trembled. "If this is a vault, it's not alien. The composition, the layout, it's human. Old human." Mercer frowned. "You're saying we built this?" "I'm saying," Mara whispered, "someone like us did. A long, long time ago." They approached one of the tablets. Its surface flickered, images forming, figures, shapes, cities, but each one dissolved before it could be understood. The script was unlike any written form they'd seen, twisting in recursive loops that defied translation algorithms. "It's language," Mara said, eyes fixed on the glow. "But it's encrypted. Every symbol contains hundreds of substructures. It's over-engineered." "Can you read it?" Mercer asked. She hesitated. "I can try." As she began decoding, the room darkened. The tablet shimmered in response to her touch, as if the archive itself had awakened. A vibration rippled through the floor, low and ancient. Then, one of the slabs flickered violently, and a projection burst into life. A hologram formed in the center of the chamber, a human figure, flickering between static and clarity. "Welcome, descendants," it said. "If you are hearing this, the cycle has turned again." The team froze. Mercer took a cautious step forward. "Identify yourself." The hologram smiled faintly. Its eyes were filled with something older than time, sorrow, perhaps. "I am Archivist Zero. I was made to remember what humanity chose to forget." The hologram's voice deepened, fractured. "The tablets contain the history of the first civilization, your origin. 10,000 worlds, 10,000 choices, 10,000 failures." Reyes swallowed. "Failures of what?" "Of creation," the archivist said. "You built, destroyed, and built again. Until the weight of your mistakes became unbearable. So you erased yourselves. You left the archive as a warning." Mara stepped forward, shaking. "But, we're the descendants of Earth. We never." The hologram's gaze turned toward her. "Earth was one of many. You are not the first children of humanity. Nor the last." The light flickered again, and the projection shattered into fragments. The chamber fell silent. Reyes cursed softly. "Power surge fried half my readings." Lila whispered, 10,000 tablets, each one a world we ruined?" Mercer stared at the walls, at the endless expanse of pulsing slabs. His reflection shone faintly across their surfaces, distorted, multiplied 1,000 times. "Download what you can," he ordered. "We'll analyze it on the ship." As they turned to leave, Mara stayed behind, transfixed by one tablet that flickered differently, slower, like a heartbeat. She touched it gently, and for a split second, words appeared across its surface, not symbols, not alien glyphs, but English. "Do not look further. What you find will remember you." The letters faded as quickly as they appeared. Mara's pulse quickened. She looked around, the others were already heading up the corridor, their lights fading into the dark. She exhaled slowly. The tablet was silent again. But deep beneath the vault, something had stirred. Something that remembered. The Artemis III's engines groaned as it rose through the thin haze, leaving the silent valley behind. Inside, the crew spoke in clipped sentences, their words wrapped in unease. The samples, the data drives, the sealed fragments of the vault, all locked behind containment fields. No one said it out loud, but every one of them felt it. The archive wasn't dead. It was waiting. Commander Elias Mercer stood in the ship's control room, watching the planet shrink beneath them. Its surface was an endless gray wound in the void. He turned toward the observation deck, where Dr. Marachen sat at her console, her eyes fixed on a single holographic projection, the same tablet she had touched before leaving the vault. "You haven't slept," Mercer said quietly. "Could you?" she murmured, fingers dancing over the display. "Every line of code I extract from this thing, it rewrites itself. It's like it knows I'm watching." Mercer frowned. "You think it's some kind of adaptive encryption?" "No," she said. "I think it's alive." Before he could respond, a voice crackled through the intercom, Lieutenant Jonah Reyes from Engineering. "Commander, you might want to see this. Power fluctuations in the containment bay, it's drawing energy from the ship itself." Mercer's jaw tightened. "On my way." When he and Mara arrived, the bay was bathed in flickering light. The data core, a sleek silver cylinder containing the archive samples, pulsed faintly, each rhythm syncing perfectly with the heartbeat-like pattern of the signal that had lured them here. Reyes cursed under his breath. "It's pulling juice straight from the reactor grid. I've isolated the lines 3 times, and it keeps reconnecting. Like it wants to stay awake." Dr. Lila Grant knelt near the containment field, her scanner trembling in her hands. "Commander, you need to look at this." Projected above the cylinder was an image, faint at first, then sharpening. It was Earth. Not as it was now, lush and blue, but scorched, fractured, continents stripped bare. Around it floated thousands of orbital structures, some broken, some still burning. "This is impossible," Lila whispered. "These are not simulations. They're memories." Mercer stared at the image. "From when?" From before, Mara said softly, her voice hollow. From before us. The projection shifted again, images cascading like waves, cities swallowed by oceans, machines turning against their makers, humans standing beneath alien skies. And then, silence. Mara touched the hologram, her expression pale. It's showing us what they did. What we did. 10,000 worlds. 10,000 endings. Reyes backed away. Commander, we need to shut this down. Whatever this thing is, it's feeding on our systems. But as he reached for the console, the lights dimmed. The ship shuddered violently. A low hum filled the air, a resonance so deep it vibrated in their bones. The hologram split apart, revealing a shape behind it, faint, translucent, but unmistakably human. Do not fear, the voice said, calm and unbroken. It was the archivist again, no longer bound to the vault. You have opened the archive. It cannot be closed. Mara stepped forward. You said this was a record. A warning. Why follow us? The archivist's eyes glowed with faint light. Because you have forgotten the lesson. Again. Mercer's hand hovered near his sidearm. What lesson? That creation without memory is destruction repeated. The lights flickered again, and for a moment the figure's face twisted, not in anger, but in pain. Each time humanity rebuilds, it buries its past in silence. It fears what it once was. But fear is the mother of repetition. Lila whispered, so, those tablets, they're our history? No, said the archivist. They are your reflections. Every world where humanity rose and fell, a mirror of the same flaw. Reyes snapped, you expect us to believe we've lived this all before? That we're copies of copies? The archivist's gaze fell upon him. You are the echo of those who chose to forget. You built stars and tombs, gods and machines. You erased yourselves to escape the guilt of what you had done. But the archive remembers. It always remembers. A sharp tone blared through the speakers, the ship's AI, Osiris, cutting through the static. Commander, we are receiving an external transmission. Source, the surface. It's the vault. Mara looked up sharply. That's impossible. We left the vault offline. Playback, Mercer ordered. The voice came through faint and broken, but familiar, Mara's voice. Do not look further. What you find will remember you. The room fell silent. Reyes' hands shook. That's what you said was on the tablet. Mara's heart pounded. I didn't record that. Then the archivist spoke again, softer now. The archive has begun reconstruction. You have carried the seed beyond its prison. It will remember through you. Mercer took a step closer, eyes locked on the hologram. If this is a warning, then tell us how to stop it. The archivist's form began to fade. You cannot stop memory. You can only face it. And then darkness. The ship's lights went out. The hum ceased. For a moment there was nothing but the sound of breathing, shallow, panicked, human. Then, slowly, emergency lights flickered back on. Osiris spoke again, its normally calm voice distorted. Commander, navigational data has been overwritten. New destination set, coordinates point to Earth. Reyes swore. It's hijacked the system. Mara stared at the console in disbelief. No. It's guiding us. Back to where it all started. Mercer exhaled slowly, the weight of realization settling over him. We're going home. For the next 20 hours, the Artemis drifted through the void, guided by something beyond their control. The crew spoke little. Each was trapped in their own reflection, wondering what kind of world awaited them, and whether it would still recognize them as its children. When the blue sphere of Earth finally filled the viewport, it was not as they had left it. The ocean shimmered with metallic light. The continents were scarred by patterns too geometric to be natural, vast etchings visible even from orbit. Lila whispered, those aren't cities. They're symbols. Mara's hands trembled as she brought the image into focus. They're the same markings from the vault. The same language. Earth is one of the tablets. Reyes turned to Mercer, panic rising. Commander, we need to destroy the core before. The ship jolted violently. Every console blazed with unreadable code. The archivist's voice returned, resonating through metal and bone alike. 10,000 worlds. 10,000 mistakes. But perhaps, this time, you will remember. The hull shuddered as beams of light burst from the planet's surface, connecting with the Artemis. The ship's system screamed, and Mara cried out as the data streams enveloped her console. Mercer grabbed her shoulder. What's happening? She looked up at him, eyes wide, glowing faintly with the same light as the tablets. It's reading us. The Artemis III was no longer moving under its own power. It hung above the Earth like a puppet held by invisible strings of light, its hull humming with the deep, resonant tone of a living memory. The planet below glowed faintly, oceans and continents alive with the same pulsing rhythm as the archive itself. Inside the ship, chaos had given way to awe. No alarms, no screams, only the slow, synchronized thrum that seemed to echo from the walls, the consoles, even the blood in their veins. Dr. Mara Chen stood motionless before her terminal, her face illuminated by a flood of symbols flowing across the holographic screen. The glyphs no longer changed randomly. They spoke. Each symbol reshaped itself into English words, appearing and vanishing before she could read them all. We remember. We were you. We are still here. Commander Elias Mercer gripped the railing, trying to steady himself against the vibration running through the deck. Reyes, shut down the main grid. Sever the connection. Lieutenant Jonah Reyes' voice cracked. I tried. The circuit breakers are fused, it's rerouting through organic systems. Mercer turned sharply. What the hell does that mean? It means it's not just using our computers anymore, Reyes said. It's using us. The archive's neural patterns, they're copying themselves into our brains through the implant network. Dr. Lila Grant, pale and trembling, whispered, it's merging us with the memories. Mara finally tore herself from the console. It's not attacking. It's transferring. Transferring what? Mercer demanded. She looked up at him, eyes glowing faintly with the same blue-white light that had filled the vault. Everything. 10,000 histories. 10,000 worlds. It's giving us back what we lost. Mercer shook his head. That's not a gift, that's a flood. Humanity couldn't handle its own past once, what makes this time any different? Mara's voice softened. Because we came looking for it. The lights flickered, and suddenly the walls dissolved into light. The Artemis was gone. The crew was standing on a plane of shifting glass, stars burning overhead like watchful eyes. Around them towered the tablets, 10,000 monoliths, stretching endlessly toward a horizon that wasn't real. Mercer's voice echoed faintly. This isn't the ship. A figure formed ahead, the archivist, luminous and still, its features clearer now, more human. You have crossed the boundary, it said. The archive no longer holds its memories, you do. Reyes clenched his fists. You dragged us into this simulation? The archivist's gaze fell upon him, compassionate yet unyielding. Simulation implies choice. Memory is not a choice. It is inheritance. The air rippled, and images began to appear around them, vignettes of humanity's forgotten ages, towering cities suspended in clouds, crystal ships sailing between stars, children playing beneath twin suns, worlds blooming and then burning. Each vision lasted seconds before shattering into the next, faster and faster until they became a storm of color and sound. Mercer staggered. Stop it. You asked what these tablets contained, the archivist said. They contain you. Every version. Every attempt to begin again. Mara stepped forward, tears streaming down her face. Why show us this? Why make us relive it? Because the past forgotten becomes the future repeated. She whispered, you said we erased ourselves. Yes. Humanity once reached the apex of creation. You could shape stars, bend life, erase death. But with power came arrogance, and with arrogance, war. You burned worlds, consumed your children, and built this archive to record your sins. When guilt became unbearable, you wiped the memory clean and scattered your seed among the stars, hoping you would never remember. Lila's voice trembled. And now we've remembered. The archivist nodded. Now you stand at the threshold again. The choice returns. Mara took a step closer, her expression defiant through the tears. Then tell us, what are we supposed to do? Destroy ourselves again? The archivist's light dimmed, its tone softening. No. Learn. Memory is not punishment. It is survival. The storm of visions slowed. One final image remained Earth, unscarred, green and alive. But across its skies were lines of light forming a vast pattern, the same glyphs from the vault, now rearranging into a single sentence. Remember your beginning, and you will find your end. The vision fractured, and the crew was back aboard the Artemis III. Systems hummed softly, calm now. The link had broken or completed. No one could tell. Reyes checked his instruments. All readings back to normal. Power restored. Navigation unlocked. Lila blinked slowly. Did we just come back? Mercer turned to Mara. What did it do to us? She looked down at her trembling hands. It changed us. I can feel it, fragments, flashes. I remember things that never happened. Names, faces, worlds I've never seen. Reyes nodded slowly. Me too. It's like dreams that aren't mine. Lila exhaled shakily. So we carry them now, 10,000 mistakes, inside our heads. Mara looked at her. Maybe not mistakes. Maybe lessons. Mercer stared at the planet below. If we tell Earth what we found, if we show them what came before, will they believe us? Mara smiled faintly, a sad and knowing smile. Belief doesn't matter. The truth's already inside us. It'll spread, one mind at a time. He looked at her, the glow in her eyes had faded, replaced by something more human. More aware. And if we start making the same mistakes again? She turned back to the viewport. The planet turned beneath them, beautiful and fragile. Then at least this time, we'll remember doing it. The ship drifted in silence for a long time, the faint hum of the engines blending with the rhythm that still lingered in their hearts, that same pulse that had once come from the dead star. And somewhere deep beneath the earth, unseen and ancient, a single tablet pulsed faintly, alive again. On its surface, words appeared in a language older than speech but clearer than any sound. The cycle turns only if you forget. Let this be the first world that remembers. The glow faded. The archive went quiet. This time, it slept, not in sorrow, but in peace.